In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Ghost. Amen. Sit down. This is so it's a joy to come here for the first time to bring Mass here, way out in the middle of nowhere, in Portales, New Mexico. And it was in this area the Hewko Indians were, somewhere around here in this part of Texas and New Mexico, and they traveled in this area. It was in this area where, here in this area, and also towards Kurai, the ruins of Kurai, you have the ruins, the churches of San Gregorio, San Bonaventura, and the Immaculate Conception. And it's only, I think it's on Highway 60, it's only from here probably an hour or two. And in these tribes, before they were dispersed by droughts, it was a flourishing Indian place. And the Franciscans in the early 1700s, late 1600s, early 1700s, when they came up to Santa Fe, they established the main center for the Franciscans, the big provincial house there in Santa Fe. It's there in the 1800s that the sisters from Kentucky, right, not far from where our seminary is, where we live in Boston, Kentucky, only about 12, 13 miles away, there's the Loretto sisters, the nuns. And in the 1800s, those nuns traveled, I forget how many of them, I think it was 8. In response to the bishop in Santa Fe, they got on foot, they brought maybe a horse and a carriage, some supplies, and they walked all on foot all the way from Boston, Kentucky, in that area, to Santa Fe, New Mexico. That's an enormous, enormous trip. It must have taken weeks. And it's there the bishop wanted them to come to teach the girls. And the church that they had was built with a very high choir loft. And when the sisters got there, there was no way to get to the choir except by ladders. And they needed to have, they didn't have enough money, but they needed to establish a staircase to the top. And these sisters were busy teaching the girls. And they made a novena to St. Joseph that he would help them get the money and finally build that staircase. And on the 9th day of the novena, an old man appeared at the door and said, "I will build your staircase." And he got to work. And after a few months, it was perfectly built. It's a spiral staircase, and he disappeared. And the sisters wanted to find him, to thank him, and pay him. But they couldn't find him. And they looked all at the wood shops, at the hardware stores, restaurants, the deli, shopping markets. And they asked, "Did you see this old man? This is how tall he was. He looked this way. He had a whitish beard." And nobody saw him. And still today, they believe that it was St. Joseph who came. Why? Because that wood at the staircase, the wood from which it's made, does not exist on the earth. Arborologists have studied it. They cannot find any tree that matches its cell structure and the way it's made. Secondly, there's not a single nail in that staircase. It's all wood pegs. Thirdly, it defies the laws of physics because the way it's built, there's no central pole to hold it all together. So really, left by itself, it should fall. But it doesn't fall. It doesn't collapse. It's been there since the 1800s. So, anyway. that's in Santa Fe. So the Franciscans settled in Santa Fe. But there were Indians that came up from this area and about an hour away to the Korai ruins, which was a thriving Indian village there. And they came up, they heard about Catholic priests. And they sent a contingent of Indian men went up to find these priests. And the Franciscans met these Indians and they said, please come bring us Mass. Bring us the sacraments. We need to have our children baptized. We want to be baptized ourselves and we want to go to confession. And the priests looked at each other and they said, wait a minute. You've never seen a priest in your life? No. You don't have a church in your area? No. Then how do you know what the Mass is? How do you know what confession is? How do you know what baptism is? How do you even know the catechism? They said there's a lady that's been coming here for over 12 years to teach us. They call her the lady dressed in blue. And the Franciscans were really puzzled by this. So they came finally to the Indian villages there in Kurai and out here in the Humanu tribes of Texas. And those priests came and they were received with many flowers and processions and much joy and festivity. And the priests brought them the sacraments. And they asked, who taught you the catechism? And they explained that this lady dressed in blue. So the Franciscan provincial, Father, I think his name is Father Bonaventura, or Bona, something like that. And Father Ventura. Anyway, we'll settle with that one, but I think it's something else. But Father Bonaventura, he researched this. He had to find out who's this lady dressed in blue. And he got all the details from the Indians. And he traveled back to Spain. She told them she was from a far land across the ocean called Spain. And she gave them also the name of the convent where she lived. So Father Bonaventura traveled back to Spain, found the diocese, found the bishop, found the convent, found the nun. She was still alive. Her name was Mary of Agreda, Blessed Mary of Agreda. And our Lord and Our Lady appeared to her very often. She wrote the whole 4-volume book on the life of the Virgin Mary from what she saw. So by the power of God, she was bilocating to this area to teach the Indians the Catholic faith. And that is documented, it is in the records, and they moved it, but in the late 90s, when I brought a boys' trip through here, they had a plaque to Mary of Agreda at San Gregorio. And I think they removed that since. But they gave honor to her, because she taught those Indians the faith. And if you look in the old books, it's documented that she came here. And she was bilocating. So what is bilocation? That means you can be at two places at one time. So only God can work this. Padre Pio used to bilocate. He would be at two places at one time. And so this area must be very close to the heart of our Lord. And this is where you live. So pray to the Virgin Mary, pray to the Sacred Heart of Jesus, that you be strong in the faith, and that you love the Blessed Virgin Mary, who sent her Mary of Agreda to this area. And Blessed Mary of Agreda, she saw Our Lady. She had a great love for the Virgin Mary. And the Virgin Mary, she held the baby Jesus when he was born. And he was born without pain. It was a miraculous birth. So the Virgin Mary always was pure and spotless. And she held him when he died on the cross. The same Mother of God. And so It's the heart of Mary that will teach us how to love our Lord. That's how you got to ask her. Give me just one spark of your burning furnace, of your burning fire. Just give me one, at least a little spark to love our Lord with. Because the very heart of Jesus, the living God, our God, says St. Paul, is a consuming fire. The fire of the infinite love of God. And when the priest says Mass, the fire comes down from heaven on earth. That is the very heart of our Lord. The sacrifice of Christ on the cross. This is a statue carved out of wood. But in the Mass, it's the real thing. The real Jesus crucified. The real heart of Mary stands next to the priest. It's the divine fire of the heart of Jesus and Mary that feeds your soul in Holy Communion. So you want to ask the Virgin Mary, teach me to really love God, to really love His commandments. And how many people see God's commandments like, oh, they're roadblocks to have fun, or the commandments are just a pain in the neck, or God just wants to make life difficult. That's far from it. The Ten Commandments are the road to happiness. The Ten Commandments are the road to heaven. The Ten Commandments, they should be the law of the country. It should be against the law to kill children by abortion. And the Fifth Commandment forbids it. It should be against the law to divorce, which is forbidden by the Ninth, the Sixth Commandment. It should be against the law for these rats to publish and spread their filthy pictures and filthy dance halls and impure fashions. It should be against the law. It's against God's law. It should be against the law. The false religions spread. Protestantism and Baptistism and Mormonism and Muslims and Jews. These are false religions. Only the true religion has the right in any country, in any place. And the laws and the governments should protect the true religion. That's why the Franciscans brought the faith here in the 16, 17, 1800s. That's why our Mary of Agreda appeared in this area, so that the faith would be triumphant and save souls from hell. But the devil is always waging war. He's always waging war. He thinks he's going to win. He thinks he's got almost the whole world in his pocket. And he does. And as things get worse, this bad pope that we have, this pope that is a scandal, this pope who by his words is leading many souls to live in mortal sin and taking many souls to hell. It's a very, very sad thing, a very sad time in the church we are living. And now, when we see even the last bastion of Catholic tradition, the Society of St. Pius X being betrayed by the leadership to go with the conciliar church and to adopt the poison of the conciliar church and the poisonous new Mass, the poisonous Vatican II, and the poisonous new code. It's very sad, but we've got to fight. God put us in a time to do battle for the faith. And what a great honor to fight for the true faith. When everybody else is mocking and betraying our Lord, it's a great honor to have the grace to be with the Virgin Mary at the foot of the cross. That's where we want to be now. And to go to heaven, we got to become like little children who believe their mom and dad because they know their mom and dad don't lie. But some mom and dads are bad, and they do lie. But God is all good. He doesn't lie. And He says that to go to heaven, we have to be like children. And our Lord always tells the truth. I am the way, the truth, and the life. There is no other way. There is no other truth than the Catholic truth that He gave us. There's no other life to live than the life of the state of grace, where God lives in your soul. And if we fall, or trip up, or get bruised up, or even get killed, he leaves the sacrament of confession to give us his life again, and to sustain us by being fed with his Holy Eucharist. So let's ask our guardian angels, guardian angels are very happy. And many, many thousands and thousands of angels fill this whole house and fill the whole area miles away, all the way to heaven, because they're getting ready for Christ to come on the altar. And how many priests, like St. Vincent de Paul himself, whose feast is today, saw the angels at Mass? They saw the angels. And the angels are not little Gerber babies with wings. The angels aren't little pet dolls floating around. The angels they're huge, they're power, they're columns of fire, with swords of fire, that the devils flee. One angel can wipe out all the kingdom of hell. That's the power of the angels. And they're no match. The devils are no match to the angels. So pray to your guardian angel to receive our Lord well, and to love the commandments of God, to love the catechism, love our Lord, love the faith, until we come to see God as he really is in heaven. That's the happiness we're made for. Which happiness I wish you all in this Holy Mass. O Mary conceived without sin, pray for us in our recourse to thee. O Mary conceived without sin, O Mary conceived without sin.